Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. Donald Trump made a crucial declaration at the end of the Republican convention. He said, "Here at our convention, there will be no lies. We will honor the American people with the truth and nothing else," close quote. But is that true? It's a problem of rhetoric versus reality. Here are more of Trump's own words, and I warn you, they are stirring. Quote, "We don't win anymore, but we are going to start winning. Hillary Clinton makes people swear an oath. She says, 'I'm with her.' I say, 'I'm with you.' I am your voice. I will fight for you, and I will win for you. I make this promise. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again, and we will make America great again." These are powerful words, but are they true? Donald Trump told us that he will bring back America's strength and respect, but hours before he gave his final triumphant convention speech, the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, were trembling. Why? Because Donald Trump told the New York Times that he is prepared to, in his words, walk away from NATO allies who won't pony up more money. And the Baltic states were trembling because at that very moment, Vladimir Putin's troops were massing on the Baltic nations' borders. Trump said he will drive the lobbyists out of Washington. But in Cleveland, at a party during the last day of the Republican convention, a party addressed by Newt Gingrich on Donald Trump's behalf, the guests were, guess what? They were lobbyists. And those lobbyists were passing out bumper stickers saying, "Make lobbying great again." Meanwhile, Paul Ryan was holding another party in Cleveland on the last night of the Republican convention for the party's biggest contributors to cough up money to hold the Senate. And Ryan's party was ensuring that big donors will own the Senate's agenda under Republicans. The Republican agenda, Trump says that the elite media, fat cats, this is what Donald Trump says, that the elite media, fat cats, and major corporations are lining up behind Hillary Clinton. Said Trump, the elites and plutocrats have total control over Hillary. In Trump's words, quote, "Hillary Clinton is their puppet." But Trump has a puppet on his ticket, a man whose strings are pulled by the super rich and by the elites. His name is Mike Pence. He is Trump's vice presidential pick. And Mike Pence is a puppet for the Koch brothers, who run a coalition of conservative billionaires and aristocratic big money families that raised $950 million, almost $1 billion, to buy the White House this year in 2016. The Kochs have made a fortune in oil, and Trump promises to be a puppet for big oil and big coal. The signs at the convention said, "Trump digs coal." Now look, there's a validity to championing some aspects of America's energy industry, its oil industry. America needs energy independence. In order to grow our alternative energy industries, we need the wealth that being the world's biggest oil producer can generate. Frankly, we need fracking, but we also need regulation. We need the regulation it takes to keep fracking from poisoning water supplies and generating earthquakes, which is what it's doing in Oklahoma. So there is occasionally a truth to Trump's words, but how much truth is there? The Trumps and the Republican conventioneers, by that I mean the Trump family, Donald Jr., Eric, Ivanka, all of whom were very powerful speakers. The Trumps and the Republican conventioneers sneered at what they called Barack Obama's $700 billion stimulus program. But behind the sneers were lies. That stimulus program was begun by George W. Bush, a Republican, and it prevented the kind of 6-year-long depression that we had in 1873 to 1879, and the 10-year depression of 1929 to 1939. So George W. Bush did something right with that stimulus. And Barack Obama saw the fact that it was right and continued a wise and necessary Bush policy. But back to Donald Trump and his, quote, truth and nothing else, close quote. Trump says that he will sweep out the old crooked way of doing things. But he has the same policies that Republicans have been peddling for 144 years. The same policies that Republicans have promoted since 1872. Yes, I said not 1972, 1872. 7 years after the Civil War ended. Those creakingly antique Trump policies are these: reduce taxes on the rich and reduce regulation of big industry. Supposedly, if we cut taxes on the rich and slice away regulation, we will all grow rich. Or, as Trump told the Republican convention, $20 trillion will come flooding into our economy, more than our annual gross domestic product. But is that true? Sounds great, but is it true? The ancient Republican policy of cutting taxes and regulations has produced 3 of the biggest depressions in American history. The Long Depression of 1873 to 1879, the Great Depression of 1929 to 1939, and most recently, the Great Recession of 2008, the George W. Bush Republican Great Recession, a Great Depression. What's more, Trump says that the economy is in ruins, and only one man can resurrect it: Donald Trump. But the stock market is at its highest point in history. Is that ruins? Let me repeat that. The stock market is at its highest peak ever under Barack Obama and Democratic policies. What's more, if you had invested $1 at the beginning of the Reagan administration, by that administration's end, you would have earned a whopping 180% return. That is amazing. But if you'd invested $1 at the beginning of the Obama administration, within only 5.5 years, you would have earned a staggering 220% return. That is spectacular. It outdoes Reagan by more than 22%. The last 7 years have been good for the American economy. Very good. Is that because the Republican Party has nominated Donald Trump, or is it because of the Democratic Party policies of Barack Obama? There were other lies in the Trump message. Lots of them. The Republican convention referred over and over again to the fact that household income has gone down since the year 2000. Way down. But that's not because of Democrats. It's not because of Obama. It's because of George W. Bush. It's because of Republicans. It's because of Republican policies. George W. Bush and his policies, the same policies that Trump is espousing now, produced the Great Recession of 2008. Household incomes nosedived in that recession. Now, under Barack Obama, household incomes are rising again. But what Trump doesn't tell you is that the highest household income in American history, the household income of 1999 and 2000, was under not just a Democrat, it was under a Clinton. It was under what Donald Trump and the Republicans like to call the Clinton machine. It was under Bill Clinton. Then there are jobs. Trump says we are not producing them. To bring jobs back, he says, we have to go back to the Reagan years. And it's sort of true, almost, but not quite. Ronald Reagan produced 12 million private sector jobs. That's a lot. But Barack Obama has outdone that figure by 2 million. The Barack Obama administration has produced 14 million private sector jobs. 2 million more than Ronald Reagan. But recent history has a towering job producer, the job production champion of all time. And that champ has outdone even Barack Obama. Who is this king of job creation? This wizard of economic growth? Bill Clinton. The Clinton machine. Bill Clinton's private sector job total was 20 million, almost twice as many as Ronald Reagan. That bears repeating. Bill Clinton and the Clinton machine, the Democratic Party of Clinton's time, produced nearly twice as many private sector jobs as Ronald Reagan. So the idea that America reached its greatest peak under Ronald Reagan is a lie. And Trump's ability to produce more than just claims is just that, a claim. For its validity, ask the workers thrown out of their jobs at Trump's shuttered Trump Plaza Casino and Hotel in Atlantic City, or ask the fired employees of Trump University, Trump Airlines, Trump Vodka, or Trump Mortgage. Then there's the $17 trillion deficit, which the Republicans and the Trumps blame on Barack Obama. Now, there is some blame for Barack Obama, but frankly, that debt began to soar under guess who? Ronald Reagan. Then an economic magician entered the White House. His name was Bill Clinton. Under Clinton and the so-called Clinton machine, America achieved one of its first balanced budgets in recent American history. What's more, the government racked up a surplus, something that seems impossible to us today. Then came a problem. His name was George W. Bush, with his Republican program of tax cuts and the removal of regulations, not to mention his Iraq War, a war that doubled the debt. According to Arjun Subramanian of the Huffington Post, quote, the cost of Bush's policies amount to more than 5 times the cost of Obama's policies. Let's move on to another Trump and Republican accusation, that Hillary Clinton single-handedly destabilized the Middle East and opened the way for ISIS. Sorry, that was not Hillary Clinton. That was a Republican. That was George W. Bush. Bush took America into Iraq in 2003, and that invasion, when George W. Bush was America's commander-in-chief, destabilized the Middle East and fueled the rise of the organization that would become ISIS. There was one accurate claim in the Republican convention, and it was an important one. It was the claim that ISIS has declared war on the USA and that we must make war back, that we must eradicate ISIS. In a brilliant speech, Newt Gingrich, of all people, outlined the threat of ISIS and pointed to something very, very real. The fact that sooner or later one radical Islamist terrorist group or another will get its hands on at least one of Pakistan's 120 nuclear weapons, the weapons that Pakistan calls its Islamic bombs. Bombs not just for one country, not just for Pakistan, but for the entire global Islamic community. That's the way Pakistan sees it. Newt Gingrich said that we must prevent this, and we are unlikely to prevent it if our military intelligence services are not allowed to speak of or to understand Islamic extremist terrorism. The Republicans are right that political correctness is blinding us. And they are right that, like Donald Trump, political correctness lies. But the Republicans ignore something basic, that with or without the term radical Islamic extremism, Barack Obama is making war on ISIS. And he's doing it effectively. Under Obama, we killed Osama bin Laden. Under Obama, something that George Bush, the Republican, failed to do through incompetence, it has been said. Under Obama, we have killed 14 top ISIS leaders. And under Obama, we've taken back Fallujah and the Kayara Air Base outside of Mosul. And we are moving in on Mosul itself. But on the whole, was Donald Trump delivering on his promise? Was he right when he said, here at our convention, there will be no lies. We will honor the American people with the truth and nothing else. Were those words true? I leave that to you to decide. This is Howard the Humongous speaking to you from the future. That it's your job and my job to make, or want to know why, ask how. And now for the off button. I think I'm getting better at this.